Okay, so this video is going to pick up right back where we left off with the last video. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to continue learning how to factor when when a is not equal to 1. Okay, this is the problem I did in the last video, and here are the steps again. All right, so I'm going to go through this one without as many interruptions. Okay, just because I want you to see that this is something you don't, it doesn't have to take 15 minutes to do one problem. I promise. All right. Now again, we do the same thing. A times C, all right? 4 times 6 is 24. It's going to multiply to give us our B, which is 11. All right? Now again, I'm going to go through this process though with you every time, just so at least on these videos, okay? Numbers that multiply to give us 24, 6 and 4. Now, I'm going to do this though, okay? Just to remind you, anytime when A here, right, when our A is not equal to 1, you have to remember our first thing I told you. Each factor gets an X. So even though if these don't work, I'm still going to put an X here just so we can, visually you can keep seeing it happen. Now the question is, 6 times 4 is 24, but 6 times 4 is not giving us 11, right? It's 10. So just scratch those out. Let's see more numbers that multiply. 12 and 2. Notice I keep putting an X though. 12 plus 2, never going to give us 11, all right? Let's see. How about 8 and 3X? Well, 8 plus 3 is 11. 8 times 3 is 24. This works right here. Okay? So here are the two factors we're going to use. All right? Notice they have the X's. Please remember, they have these X's. All right? It's the most important thing that most people are going to forget. Okay. Now I gave you a verbal cue so you know how to fill in these parentheses. Okay? It's always the same. First, last, last. First, last, last. Okay? So first goes first, which is 4x squared, and last, and its sign goes last. All right. Notice I bring the sign on every time. If it's a -6, you bring the minus with it. Plus, plus. Okay. Now this one's a little different than last time. If you remember on the last video, the two factors we had, the 2x and the -3x, were the exact same as our first and last terms here. Okay. So it was real obvious where to put them. This one, they're not the exact same numbers. But the goal in mind here is to take something out of our terms, right? To factor a monomial out. So the question is, if I want to pull something out of a 4, is it going to be easier if I put again, I already have an X, a 3 there, okay? Or do I want to put my 8? And what hopefully most of you can already see is that 4 and 8 have something in common, okay? 4 and 3 don't. So it makes more sense to put the 8 there, right? Now, I'm saying this trying to tell you that means that it always works best this way, but there are going to be some problems out there where if you put the 3 in this spot where the 8 is, it'll actually work out fine, okay? But I think if you do it the way I'm showing you, you'll end up with an easier task, okay? So if the 8x goes here, the 3x must go here. Which makes sense too though, because notice, 3 and 6 both have a number they have in common, right? The number 3. So it falls into place pretty well. So we've done first, last, last. We put our common number, our factors in there with the x's. Has to have the x. Okay, I'm going to reiterate that a lot. Must have the x. All right. Now, the next step is that we need to, just like we have here, pull out a monomial out of the first set of parentheses only. So we go through this process again. All right, well, what number do both 4 and 8 have in common? And it needs to be the greatest common factor, by the way. I probably should have said that last time I didn't. All right, but it needs to be the greatest because they both have 2, but more importantly, they both have the number 4 in common. All right? And also, this has 2 x's, this has 1, so we can take 1 out of both of them. All right, you can always take the least number of x's out, or only actually. All right. Now, again, math is not magic. I told you I'd say that a lot, and I'm going to all year. So we can't just do this. We can't say, all right, well, 4x squared over 4x is just x, and 8x over 4x is going to be 2. All right. You can't just write that down. All right. That 4x you took out has to go somewhere. It can't just disappear. Again, not magic. So where do we put it? Right in front of our parentheses. All right. Now, I'll ask you the question and you can answer it and then I'll write it down myself. But if we know that x plus 2 goes right here, the question is, what must go here? And if you remember from the last video, it's always the exact same thing. All right, I show you this method because it kind of gets rid of the guesswork. All right, you don't have to guess anymore. If this is x plus 2, this has to be x plus 2, which means we have to take something out of here that gives us that. all right? And the answer, as most of you probably can guess, or can, evaluate, is 3. Because 3x divided by 3 is x, 6 divided by 3 is 2, all right? Now, excuse me, what we can do is get to our final answer from here, okay? Again, since both 4x and 3 have x plus 2 in common, we can write our common term by itself, and we can combine what's in front of them to give us our other part of our answer. All right? And this gives us our final binomial, all right, times binomial, all right? So we get our final 2 factors, which gives us our answer. And if you don't know if you did it right, you can always do what? You could always come back and you could first, outer, inner, last, right? You could FOIL this. And if it doesn't get you back up to here, you messed up. Okay? So this is yet another test I'm going to give you where if you have the time and you know what you're doing, you can check 90% of your answers to see if you get it right. Okay? So, all right. So I just wanted to go over one more problem with you so that way you have 2 examples of me reteaching how to do this again. Okay? So when you're at home, you can go back and watch it and maybe it'll help you do the homework. All right? So there you go. This is factoring video part 3. This is the second method of factoring I've taught you. I'm going to make 2 more videos showing you the other 2 methods, and that'll cover most of them. Okay? So keep watching the videos. Hopefully they're being helpful. If I need to change something, come talk to me. Come tell me. I'll take any advice you have, more than likely. So yeah, so hopefully this is coming along pretty well. Hopefully it's getting easier the more and more you do this and watch the videos, and hopefully the year's going well for you so far. All right, thanks.